Okay, I want you to picture a scenario. It's a Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
You have a dirty comforter. And we're talking a king-size, bulky, heavy winter comforter. It needs a wash.
Right.
You pull up your phone, you open maps, and you see a laundromat, I don't know, 5 minutes away. Standard procedure, right?
Right.
You just go to the closest dot on the map.
That is the standard logistical algorithm, yeah.
Yeah,
In supply chain terms, we call that minimizing the friction of distance.
right.
Humans, we usually take the path of least resistance.
Exactly. But then you ignore that. You ignore the place 5 minutes away. You ignore the one 10 minutes away. You ignore 3 or 4 perfectly functional businesses.
Okay.
You get in your car, you drive 20 miles out and 20 miles back. A 40-mile round trip just to wash a single blanket.
Which, if you're looking at this through a standard economic lens, is completely irrational behavior. It's a glitch in the matrix.
It is.
You are burning gas.
Yeah.
You are burning time, which is your most valuable asset, and you're adding wear and tear on your vehicle. The math just doesn't math.
It sounds insane. But that is exactly the scenario we are unpacking today. We're looking at a case study from AI for Laundromats by Nicholas J. Gomez. He calls this phenomenon the 40-mile comforter.
And honestly, if you look at this just as a heartwarming story about customer loyalty or, oh, people like this small business, you are missing the entire point.
So completely.
This isn't the story about fuzzy feelings. This is a high-level logistics and efficiency play. This is about architectural design of a business model.
That's why I love having you here. You see a grandmother driving 40 miles. I see a road trip. You see a supply chain anomaly.
I see a deviation from the standard gravity model of trade. And whenever you see a deviation that big, it means there is a hidden variable carrying a massive amount of weight. Something is pulling that car 40 miles against the friction of the road.
So welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are not just talking about laundry. We are talking about precision architecture. We're looking at how you take a commodity business, literally washing clothes, something people have done for thousands of years, and turn it into a high-performance system.
Yeah.
We've got the source material from Nicholas Gomez, specifically his article on the 40-mile comforter, and the philosophy behind his facility, Super Kleen Laundry, which he refers to as the lab.
Which is a great name, by the way.
Yeah.
Because that's what this is. It's not a shop. It's a testing ground for optimizing human behavior and machine efficiency. He's running code on the physical world.
We're going to cover the physics of this problem, how reputation actually functions as infrastructure, which is a concept I hadn't really thought of before, and this terrifying concept of the zombie mat.
Oh, yeah.
And finally, we'll get into the AI connection, how robots are actually the thing allowing humans to be more human.
It's the AI 4L strategy. It flips the script on automation. It's fascinating stuff.
So let's start with the physics. The anomaly. Nicholas Gomez writes about a specific couple from a place called Harrietta. They drove past multiple other operational laundromats to get to Super Kleen.
Right. In logistics, we talk about the last mile. The assumption is always that the customer wants the shortest path to the solution. Friction reduces conversion. Distance is friction.
Yeah.
So mathematically, Super Kleen should not have captured this customer. The friction of a 40-mile drive is just too high for a low-value transaction like washing a blanket.
Unless the destination offers something that negates the friction. Unless the magnet at the end of the road is stronger than the drag of the road itself.
Precisely. Gomez identifies the variable. He calls it the extreme positive experience. The source material notes that most people wouldn't make this drive unless the destination guaranteed a specific outcome.
See, that's the key word for me. Guaranteed. If I drive 5 minutes to the local spot and the machine eats my quarters, or the place smells like mildew, or I don't feel safe, the cost of that friction just went way up.
Exactly. And this introduces the concept of the zombie mat.
I highlighted this term because it feels so visceral. Break it down for us. What is a zombie mat?
So the zombie mat is what the source describes as the industry standard. It's an unattended transactional facility.
Okay.
It's purely functional. You walk in, it's a ghost town, maybe a flickering fluorescent light. Half the machines have out of order taped on them with masking tape.
Oh, I've been there.
We all have. You put money in a slot, you pray the machine works, and you leave.
It's a utility box. It's like a vending machine that you walk inside of.
It's a vending machine with high latency and high risk. And in a vending machine model, proximity is the only variable that matters.
Right.
If I want a Snickers bar, I'm not driving across towns for a better Snickers bar. A Snickers is a Snickers.
But a wash cycle isn't just a wash cycle.
Not at Super Kleen. In the Super Kleen model, the experience variable is weighted so heavily that it overrides the distance variable. The couple from Harrietta wasn't buying a commodity.
Mm.
They were buying certainty. They knew the machine would work. They knew the place would be clean.
So they aren't paying for the wash, they're paying for the lack of anxiety. They're paying to remove the variable of maybe this goes wrong.
Correct. And that brings us to the infrastructure. Usually when we talk about infrastructure in my world, we mean roads, power lines, servers, fiber optics. But Gomez argues that Google reputation acts as a digital infrastructure layer.
He mentions that the reputation promised quality and the physical presence delivered it. It's like the Google review is the on-ramp that makes the 40-mile drive possible.
Think of it as a bridge. If there's a river between you and the destination, the river being the effort of driving, you need a bridge. Trust is the bridge.
I like that.
The reviews reduce the perceived risk. But here is where it gets really interesting. We need to talk about the therapeutic Valentine incident.
Oh, this is a great story. It's actually quite moving. So Nicholas's partner, Rebecca Gomez, is at the laundromat. It's Valentine's Day. And there's a customer there, a woman, who is facing her first Valentine's Day alone since September.
Which is heavy context.
Yeah. And in a zombie mat, that woman is invisible. She does her laundry and leaves. But here, instead of just pointing to the change machine, Rebecca sits with her.
Okay.
They don't talk about detergent. They talk about dogs. They talk about life. And by the end of it, the customer tells Rebecca they are soul sisters.
Now hold on. Before we get all sentimental.
I knew you were going to do this. You're going to ruin the moment with math. You're going to turn a hug into a spreadsheet.
I am going to analyze the moment with logistics. Look, in a zombie mat, that interaction never happens. The customer processes her transaction in silence and leaves. She remains a variable with high churn potential.
Right.
If a new laundromat opens closer to her house, she switches. Why wouldn't she?
But because Rebecca was there. Because they had that moment.
Because she engaged, she didn't just perform a kindness, she secured customer lifetime value, or CLV.
You're saying the soul sister moment is a retention strategy.
In cold, hard business terms, yes. That customer didn't buy a wash cycle, she bought a relationship. Gomez points this out explicitly. This creates stickiness.
Wow.
That customer is now immune to competitor proximity. Even if a new laundromat opens across the street from her house, she is likely to keep driving to Super Kleen because she has an emotional sunk cost in the relationship with Rebecca.
That is incredibly cynical, but also completely true.
It's not cynical, it's precise. It's quantifying the intangible. You take empathy and you realize it's actually a churn reduction algorithm. It increases the switching cost for the customer. Leaving Super Kleen now feels like breaking up with a friend.
It also builds a network. The source mentions they didn't just let the Harrietta couple sit there. They directed them to a local restaurant called the Rustic Hog.
Which I love. It's ecosystem building. You think of the laundromat as a node in a network, sending traffic to another node. The Rustic Hog strengthens the entire mesh.
Right.
It turns the laundromat from a standalone utility box into a community hub.
And if the couple has a great burger at the Rustic Hog, that positive feeling gets associated with the trip to the laundromat.
Exactly. It compounds the extreme positive experience. It validates the 40-mile drive. Suddenly, the narrative changes from, we have to drive 40 miles to do chores, to, we are going on a road trip to get good food and get the comforter done right.
So we've established that being nice is good for business. That seems obvious. But you and I both know that high touch usually means high cost. Hiring people to sit around and chat about dogs isn't cheap. Labor is usually the biggest line item on a P&L.
That's the friction point.
Okay.
And that is where the average business owner stops. They say, I can't afford staff.
Right.
But this is where the efficiency audit comes in.
Okay.
Gomez challenges the idea that human presence is a net cost. He argues it's actually a savings mechanism if you pivot the operational model.
He talks about directional guidance.
Right. Think about the costs in a laundromat. What's the biggest unexpected cost? It's not the water bill that's predictable.
Equipment failure. Vandalism.
Maintenance spikes. Breakage. Someone overloads a washer with a horse blanket, or puts the wrong soap in and floods the motor, or forces a locked door and breaks the latch.
Yeah.
That requires a technician, parts, and downtime. That machine is now generating zero revenue.
And technicians aren't cheap.
Gomez points out that by physically being there to show the customer which machine to use directional guidance, the owners prevent those maintenance dikes.
So Rebecca isn't just a soul sister. She's a preventative maintenance filter.
Exactly. The insight here is preventing a broken machine is cheaper than fixing one. The human element acts as a buffer between the user error and the hardware. You are paying for the human to protect the capital assets.
That's precision architecture.
That is the term Gomez uses. He views the laundromat as a well-architected system. He even runs what he calls lab scenarios at Super Kleen, like the washer library experiment.
I like that he calls it the lab. It implies that nothing is static. They're constantly testing.
And they are moving beyond reactive. Most business owners, especially in small retail, are reactive. They chase utility spikes, they react to bad reviews, they react to broken belts. Gomez wants to filter these magic variables.
Magic variables.
Things like utility usage and customer service quality. If you can control those, you regain control of time and revenue. But, and here's the big pivot, you can't do that if you are stuck doing the grunt work.
Which leads us to the AI-4L connection. Because if Rebecca's busy fixing the coin changer or answering the phone, she can't be guiding the customer to the right machine.
Correct. The foundational philosophy here is technology is the floor, not the ceiling.
I feel like a lot of people get that backwards. They think that technology is the goal. Look, I have an app.
Right. They think, I installed a kiosk, I'm done. Gomez says, no, the technology is the concrete slab you build a house on. It handles the weight so you can build the art.
So tell me about Bella.
Bella is their digital manager. She handles the routing, the bookkeeping, and the phone calls. Specifically, the what time do you close calls.
The repetitive stuff, the low-value queries.
The noise. See, every minute you spend answering what time do you close is a minute you are not spending being a therapeutic Valentine. It is a minute you are not protecting the equipment.
That's the catchphrase from the source that stuck with me. If you are too busy answering phones, you are too busy to be a soul sister.
That is the strategic unlock. The purpose of automation isn't to replace the human. It is to liberate the human. It clears the bandwidth so the owner can focus on the high-value interaction, the stuff that generates the 40-mile drive.
It's interesting because usually when we hear about AI in business, it's about cutting staff. Let's get a robot so we don't have to pay a person.
That's the zombie mat approach.
Yeah.
That's optimizing for lowest cost. Gomez is optimizing for highest value. He's using AI to design a human-centric team. He wants the humans to be more human, not less.
And he actually uses AI to find those humans. There's a prompt in the source material for a first-look scorecard. I was reading through this, and it's brilliant.
This is pure precision architecture applied to HR. He gives a prompt to an LLM like Gemini or ChatGPT and instructs it to screen applicants. But look at the weighting.
I have it here. It says, to weight, empathy, directional communication, and personal grooming at 70%.
And technical laundry knowledge.
Approximately 30%.
That is a massive signal. He is saying, I can teach you how to operate a washing machine. That takes an afternoon. I cannot teach you how to care about a stranger's bad day.
The prompt even includes situational role play. It asks the AI to simulate how an applicant would handle a grieving customer or a first-time user who is confused.
Think about the sophistication of that.
Yeah.
He's using a large language model to simulate an emotional intelligence test. He's filtering for the soul sister metric before he even meets the person.
It's using a robot to find the most human humans.
Which is ironic, but effective. It ensures that the person on the floor is capable of delivering that extreme positive experience. If you hire someone who scores 100% on laundry knowledge but 0% on empathy, you get a zombie mat with clean floors but no soul.
And nobody drives 40 miles for that.
No.
So let's trace the full stack here. AI, which is Bella, handles the boring, repetitive tasks.
Right.
The filtered human Rebecca handles the emotional connection and the asset protection. The equipment stays running because of the guidance. The customer trusts the outcome. The reputation grows. The radius expands.
And the loop closes. It's a self-reinforcing cycle.
And the profit margins.
Well, the source talks about profit per cycle frameworks. When you reduce churn, meaning you keep customers longer, and you prevent breakage, meaning you spend less on repairs, your margins naturally expand.
Yeah.
You want bleeding cash on repairs or marketing to replace lost customers.
It sounds so simple when you lay it out like that, but most businesses are just fighting fires.
Because they haven't built the architecture. They're running on instinct, not system design.
So what does this all mean for the listener, even if they don't own a laundromat, if they are running a team or a project or just managing their own life?
It means you need to audit your own magic variables. What are the tasks you are doing right now that are purely transactional? Answering emails, scheduling meetings, routing data.
The zombie tasks?
The zombie task. Automate those. Use the floor of technology. But then, and this is the part people misreinvest, that save time into the ceiling. Reinvest it into the thing that makes your customer or your client or your boss feel like a soul sister.
Because nobody drives 40 miles for a robot.
Nobody drives 40 miles for a robot. They drive 40 miles for a guaranteed outcome delivered by a human they trust. In a world that is becoming increasingly automated, the human premium is going up.
Yeah.
Gomez just found a way to industrialize it.
That is a solid takeaway. The 40-mile comforter strategy isn't about comforters. It's about weaponizing reputation to expand your logistics radius.
And using code to clear the path.
Now, if you want to get into the nitty-gritty of this, and I mean the actual prompts, the math, the profit per cycle frameworks, we obviously can't cover the entire code base in 20 minutes, but Nicholas Gomez has a newsletter where he breaks this down.
Yeah, it's called the Load Down, or sometimes just the Load. It drops every Monday at 10:00 a.m.
You can sign up at aiforlaundromats.org. The source says it delivers technical AI knowledge and these lab briefings directly from Super Kleen.
And apparently, there's a little Easter egg in the source material. If you reply to the email with the single word loaded, all caps, it flags you as a serious operator in their CRM.
Loaded. Nice touch. It really is a deep dive into the system-first approach.
I like the promise they make. True business freedom isn't hands-off. It's system first.
We'll leave you with this final thought from Nicholas Gomez. Data is the best detergent.
Which is just a great line.
It really is. Think about that. Is your business running on data or is it running on hope?
And if it's running on hope, you might want to check the lint trap.
All right, that's it for this deep dive. Go build some precision architecture. We'll catch you in the next briefing.
Stay precise.